Hello everyone, welcome to This Week in TRS-80 for the 3rd of December 2018. In this series I answer people's questions about TRS-80s that they've emailed to me. So if you want your questions answered in the form of a video, send me an email. My email address is at the end of the video. So the first question has come through from Eric from Texas, and he's asking about the contrast and brightness controls on the Model 3 and 4. Now sometimes they seize up and you can't adjust them. So what I've got here is a pair of them that I've removed from a system to show you here what he's talking about. So when these won't turn, sometimes you can be tempted to replace them. If you're ordering new ones, bear in mind they are different in value. One's a 500K and one's a 500 ohm. And also chances are that when you buy them they'll have very long shafts on them. You'll need to cut them down in order to install them in the computer. For those who want to try and unseize them, some WD-40, you can put it down into the wipers, which are just above the solder terminals. Spray a bit in there and work the controls back and forth. In very rare cases you'll find that the shafts have even seized up and you can't get easily some WD-40 in there. So what I do is remove them from the computer, take off the wheels, hold it upright and put some WD-40 down the shafts and carefully work that back and forth with some pliers. And they should eventually break free, and then let the WD-40 do its job. So that's something to try before buying new pots for the computer. Okay. So the second question is from Jonathan from Maine, who has questions about the Orchestra 90 for the TRS-80 Model 3 and 4. What he's talking about is this device here. It gives you stereo music output on the Model 3 and 4. His one has a broken off cable and he's wondering how to repair that. So these are just a simple single screw to open them up, and then the case just comes apart like that. And what you can do is then just carefully unsolder all 40 pins on there and replace the connector with a new cable assembly. If you put a pin header on there, which is probably the quickest and easiest for most people to do, you may find that you can't close the plastic case anymore, but that will be the quickest and easiest way to fix it up. Or you can get a transition header and do it properly that way. So the transition is probably the way to go if you can get one. Another question was what normally fails in these things, because these don't come up for sale very often, and quite often when they do, they don't work properly. Most of the chips on here are actually fairly robust. There's a couple of CMOS drivers on there, 74C374s. They're the ones that usually fail on these things. It's important to replace them with CMOS versions, not 74LS versions. It won't work with a 74LS. So that's usually, it's these two large 20-pin devices there. And finally, the question was, where do I get a replacement Orchestra if he can't repair his one? I'm actually about to start producing a reproduction of them. There's a prototype of one there, and that has been tested and working on my Model 4 for a little while now, so I'll be making these available sometime between now and Christmas. So if you're interested in one of these, drop me a line. Okay, and finally, Adam in New South Wales had some questions about the Model 1 serial port that goes in the expansion interface. His question was that they are hard to find, and if I had any for sale, and I don't have any for sale at the moment. So I've been looking at, and I'm about to release a new reproduction that's smaller and less complicated than the original one. It doesn't have the dip switches or term com switch. This one's almost ready for testing, and that should be available soon as well. One of Adam's questions was that he requires the cable for it, but would like to have a go at building the cable himself. So what he needs in order to do that is the manual for the RS-232 serial port there, and if you then flip at the back to page 31, you can see here a diagram of which pins need to be connected from the 40-pin bus connector at the front of the expansion interface to the DB25. I've seen people over the years make these. They look a little messy, but they do work. If you don't like the messy look from them, I make a much neater one out of new parts, and just contact me for one of those. So that's it for this week in TRS-80. If you have any questions and you want me to answer them in the form of a video, send them through to me. And if you don't want to miss any of my future videos, like it or ring the bell. And thanks for watching.